All right, guys. So this is the last part of the Reconstruction Notes, the economic changes. So the South is going to be looking similar but different at the same time. We are still going to be having a lot of fields, but they're not going to be having slaves. Instead, they are going to have blacks working. Okay. They are going to rebuild, and they are going to have more cities because they were a very rural area, and they're going to have railroads as well. Okay, we will have tex- textile mills and factories, so they're going to kind of get away from being very rural to a little bit more urban, but they're still going to be rural. Okay, so on this right here, you need to draw a picture of the South before. Okay, so that could be very rural, a lot of farms. You could even do it exactly before, like when the war and destruction, you could definitely do that. But then afterwards, I want you to draw something about, maybe more cities, maybe railroads, factories, etc. Okay, so go ahead and pause so that you can do that. Okay, so we're coming an end to Reconstruction. By 1872, Reconstruction, we're coming to an end. We have several acts that were passed. Um, you are going to have basically former Confederates leaders be now in office and be able to vote. So you are going to see more Confederates in the government, ex-Confederates, I should say. The Freedmen Bureau is going to dissolve that organization that helped the blacks by helping them find jobs and provide food and clothing for them. It's unfortunately going to end. And then we do have a new president. Okay, Rutherford B. Hayes. He is going to be the next president after Andrew Johnson. Um, and he's actually going to remove all the military people who were in the South. He's going to remove them. Okay. All right. So African Americans, they are going to be allowed to vote. However, there is going to be some things that make it difficult for them to be able to vote, such as a poll tax. That meant that you had to pay in order to vote. Well, if you're poor, you can't pay, so that means you can't vote. There are also going to be literacy tests, which is going to be basically you have to be able to read. Well, a lot of the blacks were not educated because they were former slaves who were not taught how to read and write. So that's going to be make it very difficult for the blacks. You are also going to have segregation going on, so blacks and whites will not be able to sit together in restaurants and hotels, schools, in transportations, etc. So here is a literacy test. Okay, we're in eighth grade. I believe we all know how to read. Well, this test is a literacy test. It's supposed to be able to show you how to read, right? Like you can show them that you can read. If you pass it, that means you could read. Wink, wink. If you were to take this test today, I can assure you that you probably wouldn't pass it. But just because you didn't pass it, that doesn't mean that you couldn't read. It's just a test were created to be very, very hard. So if you want to pause this video to take a test, to take a look at this test, feel free to do it. Okay. All right. So the impact of Reconstruction, what is going to happen? Well, Reconstruction, okay. Um, Here's a quote. Let me tell you before I tell you. Here's a quote that says by W.E.B. Du Bois. It says, "The slaves went free, stood a brief moment in the sun, then moved back again towards slavery." Okay. So here it says, what does this quote tell you about this time this time period after Reconstruction? Okay. So it says they went free. So during this time, slaves were now free. They had a brief moment in the sun. They had a second of enjoying that freedom, and then they went back towards slavery. We say that because you're still going to see a lot of discrimination. Okay. The South is economy. It will be restored. They will be doing much better in the South. However, African Americans are not going to have any advancement. It's going to take another 80 years before many of these conditions, such as the black codes, segregations, before they get reversed during the civil rights movement in the 1960s. So that is it. Bye.